Welcome back. You're watching The Big Story with me, Navedna Prabhu. Now, in a shocking and bizarre display, Parshuram Waghmore, the main accused of cold-blooded murder of activist and journalist Gauri Lankesh, was publicly honoured by Hindutva groups in Karnataka's Vijaypura shortly after his release from prison. Alongside him was Manohar Yadav, another suspect in the chilling plot to silence Lankesh, who was also received with grand welcome. Both men, recently freed after 6 years behind bars, were welcomed back to their community with open arms. In fact, a sessions court in Bengaluru on Wednesday granted bail to Waghmore, Yadav and 6 others accused in the case, and then they were released from the Bengaluru Central Prison. Now, they argue that these activists were arrested without cause and that the authorities failed to apprehend the actual perpetrators. But remember, Gauri Lankesh, a fierce critic of Hindutva ideologies and the editor of Gauri Lankesh Patrika, was brutally shot dead outside her home in Bengaluru on September 5th in 2017. Getting in a quick word from my colleague Neha Hebbale. Neha, the manner in which this incident had back then, in fact, even panned out, had sent shockwaves not just in Karnataka but even across the country. But now, with this particular video that has come to the surface, in a sense, how is this being read, considering the fact that this was a brutal crime?
Well, Nivedana, of course, this is something that has now sent furor, in fact, down the spines of several people in the state of Karnataka, particularly so because, two people there who were accused of having killed Gauri Lankesh have now been welcomed in a very grand manner there by a few right-wing activists. Of course, in their defense, they go on to say that they were falsely framed, that, they actually had no hand at all to play in the murder. But, of course, one must remember that they've been languishing in jail now for quite a few years, for at least the past 5 years or so now. And for them to be coming out on bail and being welcomed like this, hasn't really gone down too well with a lot of people here. Of course, this also now comes at a time when we're seeing that, there are several of the other accused in this case who are still in jail. So as far as this is concerned, we'll really have to wait and see politically, of course, how, this is going to be playing out with the BJP and the Congress in the state of Karnataka already locking horns over several issues, including, in fact, that, of course, the latest being of the Hubli riots case that was withdrawn, with the government, in fact, being targeted here by the opposition, saying that, they are, of course, pro-terrorists is what had also taken color. So as far as this particular incident is concerned, whether there is, of course, going to be any complaint here and the case at all that's registered is something that we'll have to wait and watch out for.
Right, Neha. Thank you very much for getting us those inputs and as to how potentially that could pan out. But for the moment, we leave it at that. And on that note, that's all I have for you on this edition of The Big Story. Thank you very much for watching.